Alright, greetings everyone. I apologize for the delay in production. I have been playing and teaching a whole bunch, and it gets hard to find the time, so thanks for your patience. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about a concept that is simple to grasp, but takes a lot of awareness to execute. And that is basically the two options we have for adapting a motif to fit changing harmony. And I talked a little bit about this in my long and boring series on how to improvise, but let's reiterate and get on the same page. So the premise is this: we're trying to carry a motif through harmony. Let's say that our motif is 1, 2, 3, and our progression is just 1 to 4. Now, when the harmony changes, there are two main ways to modify the motif to fit the next chord. One way is to play the same relative chord tones, just transposed up. So that is to play 1, 2, 3, but relative to the new chord. So if we played 1, 2, 3 over G7, over C7, we would shift it up so that we're playing 1, 2, 3 against that. Now, that's the easy part. The device that isn't as straightforward is to modify the structure so that it fits the new chord. And this requires us to understand the construction of the fragment. And in this case, our fragment is two diatonic steps, 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. So we should ask, is there any way I can modify this phrase so that it fits the next chord, which is C7? Well, which of these notes are consonant with C7? G is, A is, but B is the major 7. So what if we just flatten it, right? And note that the essence of the structure hasn't changed. We're still playing 2 steps. We're not introducing a skip or like a big leap, whatever. And if we keep enough of the structure the same, it'll still read as the same motif. Now, what if we were going 1 to 5? Remember that our motif was 2 diatonic steps. Are those notes consonant over D7? Well, technically yes, there's no wrong notes, but remember that we generally want chord tones on strong beats. So what other 2-step fragments are nearby that would work over D7, our 5 chord? Well, we could move it down a diatonic step, which in G would be 7, 1, 2, but over the chord would be 3, 4, 5. And we could also move it up a diatonic step, which in G would be 2, 3, 4, but over the chord would be 5, 6, 7. So think of this as kind of a hybrid. We didn't move the whole motif up to the root, right? We didn't play 1, 2, 3, and then when D came, we moved up the whole thing. Likewise, when we moved to C7, we were able to change just one note and keep the rest the same. We weren't able to do that over D7, but we were able to keep the structure the same, 2 diatonic steps, and just shift it up or down slightly to fit the chord. Now, on the surface, this seems simple, but realize that this is like the simplest iteration. So think about this. You can use a small motif like this to imply any harmony. I could take that 3-note fragment and imply the 2 over the 5, I could get an altered sound. I could get a minor 4 sound or a D7 flat 9, and so on and so forth. And you can take this through an entire tune. So if you think, oh, that's easy, understand that it's not just about being able to do it once, it's about a concept. Can you apply the whole concept generally? And also, this isn't to say that this device is better than moving the whole fragment up to fit the chord. Many great melodies use that device. But you have to strike a balance between those two so that your playing doesn't either sound too jumpy or too linear, right? So let me demonstrate the power of this concept. Let's say I'm moving from G7 to C7, and so over G7 I could play this, 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 or this, and that's just, to name a few. So I'm just going to move from 1 to 4 in succession a couple times so you can hear the different ways I can adapt the motif to fit the harmony. So I could do, I could do, like the possibilities are endless, especially when you couple that with some interesting rhythmic ideas. So now, if you're lost or thinking, like how did you know how to change it so that it would fit, that's totally cool. This is something that you have to discover through the process of doing it. It's up to you to sit down and hash it out. And you have to go through this process, ask yourself these questions, and have these light bulb moments. Oh, I can use this here if I just change this one note. Now, that doesn't mean you can't get help, but I feel like I should take a moment to talk about teaching as it relates to improvisation. And in my opinion, the best teachers facilitate this process, but don't spoon feed you the answer. They don't tell you, hey, you can use this here because of this. They get you to come to that understanding on your own, and they ask questions that force you to use your deductive reasoning skills to reach a conclusion. That is how connections are forged. I don't want to say that the answer isn't important, but at the same time, it's like you're taking a math test and your friend gives you the answer, but you have to show your work. So the answer itself doesn't get you anywhere, yeah? It's the why that's just as important. And finally, as you're working on this, remember that these are just tools that are available to you. And you need to spend time learning how to use the tool, but you also need to spend time learning when to use the tool. And great improvising comes from knowing both. So good luck.